The wow effect is still with me since I watched for the first time Back to the Beginning. The concert that had all the elements to be already a legendary statement in the metal world, and the fact that Ozzy died 17 days after, I think it just made everything even more legendary. If you think of, every genre has its one moment that feels bigger than music. Rock had Woodstock, pop had Live Aid, punk had the Sex Pistols at Manchester in 1976. And you can argue there was a few remarkable moments in heavy metal, but we all have to agree that the biggest one of all of them came in July of 2025, when four guys from Birmingham stepped on stage together for one last time. The concert Back to the Beginning was a mix of a festival, tribute, charity event, and it is considered by me the most iconic metal concert of all time. Welcome to the series of Genius Off, and today we're gonna dig into the elements why Back to the Beginning is so legendary. Black Sabbath had already said goodbye once before with the End tour in 2017, but we all felt that emptiness in our chests. Drummer Bill Ward wasn't there. Tommy Clufetto's Ozzy solo drummer filled in, and while he did a tremendous job, everyone knew that it wasn't the same without Bill. By 2024, and following a couple of years with bad news about Ozzy's health, I think even the metal community, the rock community, even like as a pop culture figure, everybody kind of followed Ozzy's updates and news about his health very, very close. But the reality is that he was not doing well since the mid-2010s. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in February of 2019 and also suffered a spinal damage from a fall that same year.
I found out that I have a mild form of
It's Parkin 2, which is a form of Parkinson's.
He rarely performed in the years after, and by early 2025, he had lost his ability to walk due to Parkinson's disease, leaving most fans assuming that the original four would never share the stage again, including me. But for everyone's surprise, on February 5th of 2025, Sharon Osbourne announced that the final show was going to be held on July of the same year. The name Back to the Beginning referring to the band's formation in Aston, Birmingham, and as Ozzy insisted on staging one final performance to give back to the place where he was born. The place, well, Birmingham is literally where it all began. The city's factories, its working class grid, and the gloomy skies, that's all that shaped Sabbath's sound back in the late 60s. Over the years, Birmingham would give us bands like Judas Priest, Napalm Death, Godflesh, and even outside of metal, UB40 and Duran Duran. But Sabbath was the blueprint. They gave the city recognition and made Birmingham the birthplace of heavy metal. Even though, because if depending on the football teams, that would never happen. And nearly 60 years later, they came back to close the circle. Back to the Beginning was held at Villa Park, home of the Aston Villa football team. It was a one-night only event. There not only would be a final Sabbath reunion, but it will also be a massive charity mega show featuring the biggest name in rock and metal like Metallica, Slayer, Tool, Pantera, Guns N' Roses, Gojira, Lamb of God, and many more. All 45,000 tickets to the concert were sold out in only 16 seconds, and 150,000 people have waited in the virtual queue, including me, due to the opportunity to attend. None of the acts on the lineup were paid, and they only receive reimbursements for any travel expenses.
Black Sabbath and Ozzy is a significant part of the reason that you and I are standing here having a conversation today, because if it wasn't for them, and you can fill in the rest of it.
Tom Morello was chosen as musical director and for the concert, and honestly that was a great addition, and we're going to talk about in a little bit why. But he stated that the intention was to make the greatest heavy metal show ever, comparing to the Freddie Mercury tribute concert and a concert for George. And he was grateful that all the members of Black Sabbath were alive to enjoy the production.
We'll talk about the Sabbath thing right now, because so over a year ago, I ran into Sharon. She said, Ozzy is doing this one more show, Sabbath's doing one more show, and we were thinking that we would like you to be the curator of it. I thought, well, that's no. First of all, thank you. And what the hell does that mean? Yeah. And heavy metal is the music that made me love music. It made me love music, and Black Sabbath invented heavy metal. So that has been quite a task, but really like a real labor of love. And it is, the goal is a simple one: to make this the greatest day in the history of heavy metal. And to that end, when you call up and say, Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, want you to play their last show, people pick up the phone. So, first I locked in Metallica, and then it was, Tool, then it was this one and that one. Then people started calling me up, like Guns N' Roses, like, you haven't called us yet. I'm like, well, please, we would love to have you. And really, it's something that I'm very much looking forward to, and is also super stressful.
I have to tell you, I couldn't have done it without him. Absolutely could not have done it. I mean, he's just been amazing.
Hell of a job to take on.
It is, isn't it?
Oh,
It's huge.
The stadium event was produced by Live Nation with the accompanying broadcast co-produced by Qzwy, I think that's how I pronounce it, which is an internet video company with the American record label owned by Universal Music Group, Mercury Studios. They play on a revolving stage to quickly transition between the acts. It's a concept borrowed famously used at the London portion of the Live Aid. And it honestly worked really well because everything was on point, on time, no one was late, and there's no major issues with that. Live Nation's promoter Andy Coppin spent almost 2 years working to put the show together, originally wanting to set the concert in 2024, but it was delayed due to Ozzy's healthy issues. Once everything was aligned and ready to go by early 2024, Sharon made the announcement, and little after that, Black Sabbath began rehearsing the set closer to a month prior to the event.
This is obviously huge news, as it was something we never thought we'd see again, Tony, especially with the End Tour back in 2017. So, why the sort of change of heart on this?
well, it's a different thing as well. The End Tour was, it wasn't the full lineup. It wasn't Bill, wasn't playing with us. And, well, we thought that was the end. But here we are. I think it's a great thing to do, and it's a charity thing.
Of course.
The whole thing is a great event, and it's really different. It's something that's not been done before like this.
The concert ran for 10 hours, starting exactly at 1 p.m. It was hosted by Jason Momoa, and he had Slipknot's Sid Wilson opening with a DJ set. And after that, he even proposed to Kelly Osbourne backstage.
Kelly, I love you more than anything in the world.
Fuck up, you're not married, boy, do it.
Nothing would make me happier than to spend the rest of my life with you. In front of your family and all of our friends. Kelly, will you marry me?
And the lineup read it like a hall of fame of rock and metal. I'm not going to go over every single act of the night, and you can check every act in the set list right here. But let me go over some of the highlights of the day, in my opinion. Mastodon with Danny Carey, Eloy Casagrande, and Mario Duplantier covering Supernaut. Rival Sons playing Electric Funeral. Lamb of God tearing through Children of the Grave. Gojira with a crushing version of Under the Sun. Slayer reuniting once again, blasting through the classics like Rain and Blood and Age of Death, and also playing the Uncut Gem, Wicked World. Guns N' Roses playing 4 Sabbath songs, It's Alright, Never Say Die, Junior's Eyes, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And although Axl's voice is something that honestly I can't anymore, it really bothers me. Slash and the band did a tremendous job, and the new drummer Isaac Carpenter, it was really good. Tom Morello's All Stars group, it was rotating. They had 2 parts. They played the first time after Lamb of God. And it was just a mix of a bunch of musicians playing cover songs from various bands and also through Black Sabbath with names like Billy Corgan, Tobias Forge, Dave Ellefson, Jakey Lee, and Nuno Bittencourt, for example. And Nuno did such a good job. He was unbelievable. Everything he played, the guitar was on point. The solo, he was a flawless performance. Absolutely amazing. He nailed it. Unbelievable. And they play everything from The Ultimate Sin with Lazy Hale to Changes with Youngblood, which was the most surprising cover of the night, without a doubt. I didn't know that, but Youngblood had a close friendship with Ozzy, and Ozzy served to him almost as a mentor. And back in 2022, he was at Youngblood's video clip, the song called The Funeral. He honestly did a tremendous job. A little after that, Youngblood released the performance as a charity single, with all proceeds going to those organizations over here. And the song debuted at number 1 on the UK single download charts. It is a must listen.
Like, I felt like I was just getting to know him. And like, it's making me emotional because I was like, I feel like I finally getting to kind of like thank him and be around him, and kind of almost like when you're backstage and you meet one of your heroes, you can say thank you, but it doesn't really sink in, because as someone who's in a position where backstage, you kind of like, everyone's like, it's an intense scenario, but as I started to get to know him more and more and more, I could really kind of, in my opinion, let him know how much he did for me, because everyone says, oh, thanks, man, and you go like, oh, no worries. But I got to know him, and then he left us, and I didn't think he would leave us so soon, and getting to sing for him at the Back to the Beginning concert and sing that song and watch the world really wrap around that moment, like, was like, what the and then he died. It was like, I don't feel the universe has ever played such a wild trick on us like that, man. You know what I mean? I was like, what the it was crazy.
If you're staying tuned now, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Please support this channel as much as you can, and let's get back to the video. To top that, there was also a wild Aerosmith jam with Steven Tyler. And at nearly 80 years old, Tyler was also one of the biggest surprises of the night, especially playing Walk This Way and Whole Lotta Love. Metallica was the last act before Ozzy took the stage, stormed through Hole in the Sky and Johnny Blade, and finishing the set with Master of Puppets. So before we talk about Ozzy and Black Sabbath, let's remember a couple of things. Ozzy's health struggles have been public for years. Parkinson's, spinal injuries, surgeries. By 2025, most people thought he'd never sing live again. And honestly, most people even think he'll be alive past the early 2000s. And the fact that he's alive to do the show was unbelievable.
I'm burdened to my wife, burdened to everybody that works for me. I mean, I've never been like this in my life.
Do you think had you not gotten the operation back then, you would have been paralyzed?
No, I don't think. I think the guy was insane. I mean, I'm paralysed now to a certain degree. I can't walk. It's not like Ozzy Osbourne to be laid up for. I've never been this long laid up in my life.
So when he walked out, sitting on a throne, mic in hand, determined to give everything he had, the crowd absolutely lost it. His voice wasn't what it used to be. That's obviously, but nobody cared. It mattered that he was there. He got on stage with drummer Tommy Clufletos, bassist Mike Innes, keyboardist Adam Wakerman, and guitarist Zach Wilde, playing 5 songs in total. 4 from the debut album Blizzard of Oz, I Don't Know, Mr. Crowley, Suicide Solution, and Crazy Train, and the power ballad Mama I'm Coming Home from No More Tears. And then it came the big moment.
Let me see those fucking hands!
Ozzy, Geezer, Bill, and Tony. The original 4 that haven't played together since 2005. For one last time, for one last Sabbath set. They play War Pigs, Iron Man, NIB, and Paranoid. Just 4 songs, which is enough. I think if they play one more, you could see they're struggling through it, especially B. Ward. Now, Ozzy, obviously, but B. Ward as well. Bill was actually the biggest reason Sabbath didn't have more opportunities to play together, the 4 of them. I think he was the one that was struggling the most. But seeing him over there was as impressive as Ozzy, to be honest. If they had played only 3 songs, people would be like, oh, we should be playing one more. But if they had played 5, I think it wouldn't work. 4 songs were perfect round there. It was what we needed. And all those songs, it felt that Black Sabbath was laying down, for one last time, the foundation of heavy metal. Played by the original lineup in the city where it all began. That was pure history. There are many reasons to argue that Back to the Beginning was the biggest metal event of all time. Some of them are easy to write, in my opinion. It was the original 4 reunited for one very last time. It was a farewell in their hometown. A lineup full with legends of every generation of heavy music. A record-breaking charity show that raised millions. And above all, the emotional weight of watching the creators of metal taking the final bow. At the end of the night, when Sabbath finished Paranoid and all the lights were dimmed, it felt like the end of the era. Not just for the band, but for heavy metal itself. The torch had officially been passed. It doesn't feel like the end of heavy metal, obviously, but it was just like, I think the first chapter, the true chapter of heavy metal had its closure. And maybe that's why this concert wasn't just iconic, and it was essential. It was essential for us to have a closure with Black Sabbath. Heavy metal finally got its perfect goodbye.
As soon as he opened his mouth and started singing, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, we all wept.
There wasn't a dry eye in that stadium. I mean, I get goosebumps.
The event raised close to £140 million for charity, which it was divided equally between Acorns Children's Hospice, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and Cure Parkinson's. Following up this concert, we released a concert film of the event titled Back to the Beginning, Ozzy's Final Bout, that will receive a theatrical release in early 2026. Also a documentary that will be streaming on Paramount Plus, dated to start on October 7th of this year, named Ozzy Osbourne No Escape From Now, will document the final 6 years of Ozzy's life, including his final performance at Back to the Beginning. So probably when you're finishing watching this video, you should check out this documentary. But anyways, tell me what you think about Back to the Beginning. It deserves the title of the most iconic metal concert ever. Or do you remember any other moment that tops it? Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. I want to hear your thoughts on Back to the Beginning. I'm still hyped up for it? It was really that iconic? Or it'll be something that people will forget as the years gone by? Anyway, let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.